Hey guys, welcome back, and we're on to build week 3 or build log 3, however you want to do it. And yes, I'm wearing my red shirt because in true Star Trek fashion, after the fiasco I had last week trying to get the video out to export and all that, I feel like I was one of those red shirts that always just never could get the mission done. Um, and I'm not talking about the command crew. I'm just talking about, the red shirt security guys. So with that, yes, I am wearing my red shirt today. But I have got it fixed, and I should not have any more issues getting stuff exported and getting stuff done uploaded on a timely manner. So I do apologize for that. There are a couple of scenes that I'm going to integrate with this week's build that I wanted to show last week, but because I thought one of the problems was that it was too long. Which it wasn't. I'm going to incorporate those with this week's video so you can understand some of the things that I'm doing this week. Basically, I'm going to finish up the photo etch for the warp bussards. Can't wait to show you those. And I've already got some photo etch going on, but I'll show you more photo etch and the techniques I use to do what I need to do for this kit, and how to. Sometimes it gets a little crazy when you're reading the instructions, so I'll show you how I interpret that. And they're not hard, it just sometimes like, what the heck? So we'll go there. But if you're new to my channel, welcome, and click on the subscribe button and click on the bell, and every time I upload a video you'll be notified. And thank you. And to all you that are still with me, thank you so much. I really do appreciate being able to share this with you guys and keep our hobby alive and well. But other than that, yeah, I'm going to get to the bench and get going back on the Enterprise, so I'll see you there. Didn't get where I wanted to this week, and getting the nacelles almost finished up and getting windows and stuff in, but did get the dome painted. Showed you guys how to put in the board here to help it fit. But what I didn't do it on camera because I'm going to do it next week with you guys, is show you how to get these guys done. And this is the first of the fans. And the great thing is I can use some epoxy and just get it right into the center there. But this is what that's where we're going to be at, and once it gets, I'll get it set. So nothing real showy for this week, guys, for the end of this week. Alright, it is Monday afternoon, and getting some things worked out in the program, getting some of the videos started for this week. But hey, here we are, we're back at it. And like I said, on the last bit of the video of that one, because it was last week, I'm going to show you guys how I did the busted fans and getting the photo etch done. But what I did want to show you is, get this up here so you can see it. So this is the impulse engine. Now it does give you the option, it gives you another one to do the refit, and then but you have to get it from Brad Hare Productions. So I'm just going to stay with the original, and I really do like this one, so I'm going to stay with it. But you will have to, let me see if I can get this here to you guys. You see this lined area right here, so you're going to have to remove this. And so when it gets done, it can you can get the light through like so. Sorry if you can't see. Let me get there. But because this is see-through and designed for lighting, that's what you do. But you have to get that done. You have to get that taken out. So one of the things I use, guys, is I do have a Dremel, and I did get this at Home Depot. You can check it out at Lowe's. It's an extender for your Dremel tool, so you can, it's a little handheld, more of a pin one. And then I've got some very, very wee small drill bits. So I have a multi-speed on this, so I crank it up to where I need to, just to get through the plastic. And basically all you do is go ahead and drill you some holes, just where you need to drill some holes. And then what I did is I used the drill bit to actually etch even more of that out. And I didn't get to here because drill bit, you can jerk a little bit, you'll start pulling it that way. But leave it about a 1/16 of an inch, and clean it out enough, and then I have lots of these different sizes, but I use, if I can find it so I can show you guys, it's not here, but the oh, here it is. I use these two, the flat and this one, with a little bit of a taper at it. And basically, once I got it down to where I wanted, I use this to get it even closer, and get it just about there. And then I do have these guys, and I still have some unopened, but these sanding sticks, sanding files, they're amazing. They're once you get it to that point with the file to do your detail sanding, because there's different grains and stuff. So this is a lighter grain, so it's a lot heavier, or it's a lighter grain because there's more of it. But and then you can just go in and finish doing what you need to. And if you have to, don't forget, have a good sharp X-Acto knife, and you can use that to pull some of that. I also did photo etch here. Did the same thing. I drilled out, and now it is in place and ready to go. The same thing on this side. So those are done. And then on the kit, where the impulse engine is on the deck, on the saucer section, that section down with the impulse at the end, it has light coming out of it, but on the kit it was designed not, so it didn't have the holes. So I spent quite a few hours trying to get those done, and yeah, they kind of look crazy. But basically I did the same thing. I took that drill bit and I just lightly dug it out, not going crazy, and then I used my X-Acto knife to help finish shaping it the way I want, and then that. So I got both sides done, and now you're going, okay, Buck, what's with the tape? So because of some of the crapness I did to it, and you can't, if you can see, there's some things where I got a little too ambitious with the drill bit. So I'm going to go back in and fill that with Bondo and try to get it reshaped and redone. But that is the plan. And so that's it. So let me get everything reset, and let's get started on the bustard fans. Give me a second, guys. See you in a bit. I'll show you one thing before we get started on this, guys. So also where the deflector dish is, they have photo etch. So I cut the sides out like it said to. So when I do light testing, I'm hoping enough light here coming through here will transfer to the deflector dish. So we'll see. I do have an idea if it doesn't work, but yep. So there's that. So all right, get you where I don't lose you. Now this is the fans and the bustards. So here is the instructions. I don't use the jigs because it drives me crazy. I was trying to figure out, and I just couldn't get it done. But the good thing is, if you guys do watch the series or the show a lot, the starboard side turns clockwise, and the port side turns counter. Well, what Paragraphics did is they gave you different fans for the top, like this one, and this one turns. This one turns clockwise, and this one turns counterclockwise. So you have two fans to be able to do what you need to do. So you can do that right. So there, we got the fan. Then we got the different pieces here. Sorry. And making sure I got everything. And give me just a second, double check, make sure I got everything before. Yep, I do, sorry. And then, so I've already cut out all the pieces. That's crazy. And getting it set. So one of the first things I'm going to do, guys, is I am going to get part 14. This is part 14. I'm going to get this done and get this piece on top of it and the fan blade out, or the mini fan blade out. So, I'm going to get this, and this piece. So, stay with me here, guys. This is going to take a bit. Now, as you can tell, I have a nice piece of marble or stone, and it works really great when you're doing photo etch. Most times you can use, I'll use, when I first started this, I used my X-Acto knife and cut, and then I had to trim down and sand. But then I went and got one of these things. These are actually, the funny thing is these are garden scissors for helping cutting roses and other things. But the funny thing is they work really great for doing this. And yes, I have my magnifying lenses on because mine's gotten pretty bad. So, I would definitely start with the X-Acto first, guys, so you get used to doing this. But, yep. And then, because of the way these, how sharp these are, I can go right against it and cut the nibs off, or the things, as I call them. You forgive me for this right now, guys. I don't remember some of the term. But then, there we go. And then what I do is, just like this, I'll get, because I know I'm going to need the big ring here in a bit, so I'll get him set to the side. And now the fun part is, because of how small this is, that's about the most I can use on scissors here. So let me get down in here so you guys can see what I'm fixing to get doing. Is I'm going to start working on this piece here. And you want to be very careful, guys, when you're doing this. X-Acto knives can be a finicky mistress. But what I do is I get my knife in there, and this is a new blade, and I get on here and just kind of wiggle and say words in my mouth that, so you guys don't hear it, and just start getting those tines off. And sometimes what helps is taking it and turning it over, and sometimes you even have to drag the knife over the piece to help get that cut. I try not to, and they do make bigger knives like this, but I don't like this one because it becomes too much of a pain. But I do, like I said, I just take my time. Don't ever be in a hurry with doing this, guys, because when you start hurrying, that's when you have to go back and fix a lot of things. So, it is getting there. And if I go off camera with this, I am sorry, guys. Because what I'm doing is I'm just trying to get it cut off, and then I'll trim it up and get that done. So, but I'm trying not to bend the other piece, because if you bend these things and they're not supposed to bend, or they are but you didn't want to bend it, it's a real pain in the butt to get it to come back. And trust me, I've done it on more than one occasion trying to do this. So, okay, so there we go, guys. That is out. And again, I just go with this, my scissors, and I just get the pieces of tine that I wasn't able to exactly get cut. So there's that piece. Then we want this piece, and I'm going to zoom back out so you guys can see. And then also check this out, the black cloth that I'm using now. My wife actually went and because she does her hobby is, or what she loves to do is sew. So I asked her to make one up so I didn't have to always try to keep putting that sheet up, because I tried the towel in the last video and it just didn't feel right. So That's why I had her. She's going to make me another one so I can get one washed and get one on the table. So, okay. Sometimes these things are a bugger. It's alright, guys. Again, just be patient. Take your time. Okay. So that is off. And as you can tell, keeping camera here, Buck. You see, it's got those little lines. And the easiest thing, one of these days I'm actually going to invest from Cult TV Man the actual bender that they sell from Photo Etch, so I can actually do this right, do it properly. But I use my good pointed tweezers, and then I just slowly, and I try sometimes putting your, if you get a fingernail, put it in the part like so, and start bending it up, and so it stays in that line. Because even with the guide they give you on sometimes with these guys, they start bending everywhere else. But there we go. So there's that piece, and then just kind of sometimes I'll eyeball it just to make sure it's good. But let me do something here. Let's see if I can, so you're not just looking at that stone. So there's the fan. Now either that or I'll just zoom in. So there's the fan, and then there's this piece. Now on this piece here, not the fan, I'm sorry, but on this piece here, you got three openings to get this other piece in. So what I do is I use it as a guide to make sure this part is where I want it to be. So give me a second, guys, and get my other tweezers here, pull down my eyeballs, and play. Sometimes you really do have to play with these things. You gotta talk sweet nothings to them. It gets kind of weird. Okay, so that is really good and in there, and as you can notice, I'm using my tweezers, and if I'm off camera, I'm sorry, guys. But take a look at it, make sure everything's down that you want, and then what I'm going to do, because I keep doing that, so now I got a piece of cardboard here, and I'm going to take my CA and my toothpicks as soon as I can find where I put them. My God, I have a desk and I can't remember where I put half my crap. There they are. So, and I use a toothpick or a brush to get a lot of things done. Definitely small details done. So what I will do is I'll put a bit in here, not much, and well, what I want to do is I actually want to get these. I want to get these put back in first. And then make sure they're in. Give me just a second here, guys, as they drop stuff. 1 second. I'm checking one thing out. Be right back. Sorry about that, guys. It was getting jiggy with me, and I had to start talking to it in Crayon. So I turned it over and got the flat piece on the bottom, or that little piece, and then got the pieces on the top. And then what you want to do is add the CA or whatever. I like CA, especially with Photo Etch, because it does really well. I know there's other adhesives, and yep, I just get it looped in and make sure I got all the sides like so. So there's that. Found it. I was looking right at it. So because this is going to go clockwise. Sorry about the phone. We're going to use the clockwise one, so because I know that's port. So again, I just I use my scissors, and like I said, if you don't have these guys, you can do your X-Acto knife. But give me 1 second here. Okay. Now that is definitely good. So, what you want to do is get some of that into the fan there. Let me make sure it's on camera for you guys. Sorry if it's not centered. Get it in here like so. Yes, sometimes you have to play with it. Okay, now I'll use my tweezers to make sure this is going the right way and the right face up the right way. And I'm going to do this. Hopefully not lose it. And come on now. There you go. There. Get that back in here, guys. So there. I'm back, and I've gotten the pieces out and trimmed. So in the instructions, they explain, like I said, with the very top of it, of the fan, as one goes clockwise and then one goes counterclockwise. So when you do that little fan, when you come to start doing this fan, whichever way, let me just get this back up here, guys, it's dry. Whichever way this fan is face turning, you want to make sure the little one does the same. So since this is going counterclockwise, you want to turn it over so it's that way. And you want the bigger one to be opposite. Now, these rings are really good. They each got a notch where each one of these goes. Now, the jig is, if you could figure out, because they really didn't explain a lot with the jig. All they said, oh, use the jig and get the right spacing, distance, whatever. So, I tried with the other one and I just had problems. So, what I did is basically, I just started with my little ones, and I just slightly just started turning the fans, trying not to bend the middle piece so it keeps the same thing. And then once you get these bent, I will show you the next step that I do. So kind of like so, not being over exaggerative right yet. I just want to get these start to be bent so I can do what I need to. So there, they're bent. Now what I did is, one of the things I did is I turned it over and I came and I put the ring so I could start seeing which way. Now you can turn it over like that, or also what I found out to do is I set the ring on the bottom and I got at least one section of fan in, like so, and just to make sure that it's lined up. And then basically this is all I did. I just twisted and made sure that each piece went how it needed, and it's sitting right where it's supposed to, like so. Now it looks a little weird because you keep working with it, but it does do what you want it till you start doing stuff like that. So one of the things I did do, once I got to a certain point with these guys, like I said, I got them in the rings, at least the start of the rings, and so I'll turn it back over since I got it most of the way there. And like I said, then I just did this, and I did a lot of work with my hand. I try not to, but you know how it goes. These things are a bit of a pain. So what I did is I got at least a few sections where they're supposed to be, like so. And yeah, you keep dropping. I do that too. But what I did is got out some more CA. Lightly picking this guy back up so I can see where everything is at. So it's like so. And so, get you. Sorry if it's not in camera, guys. I'm trying to, but sometimes these things don't want to do that. So, okay. So I got a few of those pieces in, and then I'm gonna go and it's not a lot of glue, but it's just to start getting it set. And then I take, like I said, my tweezers again and just make sure that is set like I wanted it to. And sometimes you just got to play with it a little bit, like so. Because once I can get these things set, and once you actually do get them set, they stay. So what I'll do is I'm going to let that down for a second, let that get harder, and I'll start on the little one. Same thing. I just go through, start twisting them. Just like that. Make sure I'm in camera. Yep. Just like so. Like I said, you don't want to put too much pressure on it, because if you do start putting pressure in the middle, it's going to bend. And trust me, I know that because I bent the first one. I had to rework with that. So while that's still setting, I'll get going on this guy. Trying to get these knocked out pretty quickly and easily. And like I said again, I just try to get these guys to fit like they should. And like so. Sometimes, if it wants to do what it's supposed to do. So, like so. And then I will go in and scoop some more CA, and then does like that because CA does that, because it's a pain in the rear end sometimes. Good thing is it's got a decent, most parts got a decent work time, so until it starts sticking to you. So there, you do that. You start dropping things, and you're not wanting to. So there. That's starting to set. Well, it is done the best that I can do it for right now. As you can tell, yes, sometimes you will have to do a little pickies, but it does do what it's needed to. Hold on, got a little thing that has to be done. Sorry about this, guys. Saw one that I didn't get done. So what you want to do is, like I said, I've already got the little pieces built. This goes in between this one and this one. That goes on top of this one, and this one goes underneath. So what I kind of do when I start putting stuff, you know, that's pretty self-explanatory. That's going to go up there. Damn cat hair. Get you off. Get that, let that get finished drying. And then I don't do a lot of my CA, just enough to get it down. I use my tweezers and I just get it set in the center, like so. And then give it a little tap and make sure it's down. So there's that. There we go. So the next part I'm going to do, like I said, is get this done. And voila, like so. Well, until it starts moving, then hold it up, make sure it all looks there. Well, almost. Give me a second here. There we go. Not so much. Quit playing. There. And then yep. So then I'm going to go ahead and get the big piece on the bottom so that gets that top enough time to set. And dang things like to stick. Get this here. Fine. Want to be that way? We're going to go this way. And yeah, sometimes these things, you're like, oh my god, that's the easiest thing I got to do, and then you run into this. But, darn thing. It likes to play with me. There. And voila, there we go. So, the only thing I got to do now is attach the two pieces together and then get them secured onto the light. Alright, well, welcome back, guys. This is good and set and ready to go. I did notice one thing. Got both fans going the same direction. I'm not worried. You know, it's okay. You know, sometimes things happen, but everything's set. So I got the busted LEDs, the round board LEDs, and always double check, make sure you're getting the right one, and go with the wiring diagram you got. So what I use for something like this is I use Gorilla Super Glue. It's very good and it does the job very fast. So one thing I'm going to look at, one thing you guys should look at, go ahead and get on there and see, and I'd like to try to get them on most of the light directions, the LED light direction, you know, so they're kind of in line, kind of doing their thing, or right in between them, but there. So what you want to do is, or what I do, you do what you want to do, but what I do is I just go in here, and because this is a computer board, I try not to use too much, but I'll do that, and then I will make sure it's center and set to go, just like so. And you know, if you have to move it around a little bit, go ahead, because sometimes this stuff, you know, it'll do that. It'll like to move on its own, so you're going to want to keep some pressure on it, and just like so. Not a whole lot of pressure, just some. And we're going to let that get good and set up. Usually it sets a heck of a lot faster, but because I'm trying to show you guys, it's going to play around with me, so Just give it a second, but you definitely want to make sure it's in the center and lined up like you want. And it keeps leaning, so it's still not quite set yet, but we're getting there. Just like so. And like I said, building models, doing this kind of work, you have to be patient, and sometimes you don't have the patience. You want to go, oh, come on, let me get this finished. Come on, I got another project. You know, there's something else I want to do. But I'll just do that. And you know what? I'm going to add a little bit more because it's trying to play with me. Oh, or I do something like that. Stupid. I don't try to use too much of this stuff if I can help it, because I want to try to keep that board as debris free of stuff as I can. But yep, there we go. I had to add a little bit more. So and sometimes you just got to hold it towards your eyes so you can make sure you're staying where you want. And then just count, listen to music, do a ditty, you know. One thing I did do before I did this is I went ahead and touched up the paint on these blades, because you guys remember I went ahead and got them painted and weathered a little bit. So when you do work with photo etch, even if you paint it, a lot of times you're going to start scraping, so don't worry, you can do touch-ups. But because of the way this is, I wanted to get it painted before, because there is so much in it. So I'm just kind of looking, making sure that looks... Alright, it is finally good and set. And there we go, guys. So there the fan blade is done. Now, one other thing you want to do is take your buster dome and be careful. And just make sure it fits like it's supposed to. It fits inside and looks good. So mine does. So I'm going to drop it and probably break that off again. But one of the things I'll do is go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and, not a whole lot, get some of my CA around like so, and make sure you're there, and then get this down and get it glued into place and holding it into place. Only touching the parts that I painted, so this is where it's supposed to. And here we go. And thought I'd give you guys a treat. So there they are. Sorry about the other white light. You're not getting the full. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit for you guys here, so you can see that. See those fan blades in there? Just like so. I got one little piece left to add to this, and then keep working on the nacelles. But there's that. And then give me 1 second here, guys. Let me show you this. And here's, well, maybe not. Hold on. Give me a second. There we go. And that's the next speed. So there we go, guys. So that's where I'm going to call it for a day, and then we'll get back to work on it tomorrow. So you guys, I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Well, happy Tuesday, everyone, and yes, getting back onto the Enterprise. And I'm going to start, like I said, trying to work on the nacelles even more. So one of the things I want to do first is get these guys painted and ready to go. And there's two ways you can do this. The first, as you can see, is I put it on a spin table, and then I've wrapped some masking tape around the bottom. Now the reason I did that is, if I can get it off here, is because when this piece, sorry, give me just a second, when this piece sits, it's not flat. It's not flat, it likes to lean. So there is another trick I want to show you guys, because I keep dropping pieces, but let me get these set up and I'll show you the next thing I'm going to do with them. to do even a better job. So give me 1 second. Okay guys, so this is the other thing I decided to do, and I think it's going to work better, is I masked off the bottom because that's where the light's going to come through, and then that allows me to actually get the paint everywhere except for that's masked off. So, and then I'll just stick them back down and be ready to go. Now the other thing you want to look at is make sure all your masks are in place. So I got to fix these and then we'll get started on the painting. So give me a few seconds. Alright guys, please ignore the compressor. So we're going to get started on, I'm going to start on the painting. So now that everything is where I want it, that you push down, make sure you're pushed down, is I'm going to go first with a light, coat another light block and just get this thing painted black. Get it black. So again, and then the great thing with this thing is I can do this, turn it, and I want to make sure I get the sides really good, but and then the other pieces I'm just kind of wanting to appreciate like I do, but I want to make sure I get a good light block coat in on this, and just like so. And then just again make sure that the masks stay in place because they like to move. Even though I pressed them down really well, they like to come up and move around on me like so. So get you back in place. Give me just a second here guys, let me redo this. And like I said, there's things you can do that can help these masks stay in place, or you can do like I did for the buzzards and just use. Alright guys, this is pretty good. This is dry, and I'm going to try this. I ordered it, and this is Vallejo Model Air White Gray, and that's the number 71119, and I'm gonna give it a shot because I want this to be like the actual overall blending coat for the Starship. So the great thing with the Vallejo Air is you don't have to add any more thinner to it. It's ready to go, so let's give it a shot. And then like I said, remember guys, we're not going crazy with it. We're just getting it on there first. Had to fix another mask again, so I went ahead and finished what I did. So this is where I'm going to let this get good and dry before I start removing the mask and see how the lighting did. Just again guys, remember, take your time, and these masks, no matter how well you put them down, they might keep moving on you because you're putting an airbrush on them. So just don't lose your cool and just keep going at it. So when I come back guys, we're going to see how these look. So see you in a bit. Airbrush is clean, and this is dry enough that I want to start moving the mask, as you guys can see I've done. So when you start removing the mask, just peel them lightly, and be careful so you don't scratch the paint you just put down. But here we go. And if you're going, oh my god, paint got into it, what? It's alright. Get a little bit of a cloudiness, you know. That just adds to it. So here we go. We'll get this one done, and then we're going to get ready for the next step. I'm going to let these get really good and dry, and then I'm probably going to go ahead and get started with the next part of the plan for the nacelles. So there. Okay, So that is one rear nacelle. Let me get it up to the camera so you guys can see it even better. There we go. Now we're going to let that get good and dry before I do anything else here in a bit. So I'm going to keep getting the masks off and get ready for the next thing I'm going to show you guys, or the next part of the build I'm going to do. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Well, good Thursday to you all, and yes, I am continuing work. I didn't record anything yesterday because one of the things I've learned while doing this is I need to get one thing figured out, and then I'll show you on this. So right on the other thing. So right now I'm still working on the starboard nacelle, and get it up here. I'm starting. I've been planning on how I'm running things. So I have added a piece of styrene so I can put LED tape on the bottom to light this up on the bottom of that. I have a 5mm blue bulb to the back. Now because I went ahead and painted this crystal or clear blue, I thought the white would work great, but it wasn't. I either didn't paint this dark enough or I just did something weird. But the blue and the clear blue worked great. And then I worked on getting the navigation fiber optics in. So I still need to, sorry about the computer guys, I still need to get LEDs or LED tape on both sides of the nacelle here, and then I'm going to get the buster dome in, and then hopefully I have it figured out well enough so when I go do the port side I can show you guys very quickly and very easily how I came about doing this. So I'm going to get this finished, and when we come back you're going to see what it looks like, and then we'll get started on the port side. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Well, good Friday everyone, and had a little bit going on today. It is almost 4 in the afternoon North Dakota time, so I didn't get usually what I get done on a Friday, but I wanted to get this finished for you guys so I can show you. I did get the starboard side. It is now done and ready to go. And next week when we come back I will explain what I've done and the process I used to get to this point, and I will show you step by step on how I do that. But everything works, everything is good. And the other great thing is, see if I can get it to do it. Nah. It's something you gotta learn with wires, guys, is sometimes you just gotta play with them a little bit. And everything fits well. There is going to be a process to doing this, and I will show that to you guys also. But I know custom for me, it's usually something really, really cool. Normally I have something lit up or at least lighted. And yes, like I said, starboard is done. And like I said, I will share what I did with that next week. But I got mail calls. So here is the end of build week 3. My next project after I get the Supernatural card done, which shouldn't take me very long. But yes, I have the new Polar Lights USS Enterprise from the Discovery series and the light kit. Already from what I've seen, I'm pretty impressed with the model. Do have some things about the light kit that I'm not real certain about, but I haven't even tested them, and I'm not even going to get into it. But hey, so there we go. So yes, another Enterprise will be built, and I'm waiting for Lou at Aztec Dummy to do his thing and design the paint mask for him before I even get started on it. That's why I'm doing the Supernatural card. But before we even get to that, I got to finish the JJ Enterprise. But with that, guys, I want to wish you a happy weekend, a happy week, and I will see you next week on the bench. So long.